Hi, my name is Adriana Martinez, better known as Onni. I am an oil painter out of Wilmington, California. I have been painting for about 15 years, and my work specializes in the Mexican culture, highlighting the lowrider community, and I specialize in female portrait work.
You know, I've always said my biggest inspiration in the art world has always been my siblings. I was raised in a household of artists, basically. Predominantly my brother Ben and my sister Alex, they kind of were in the household with me, and I had the, pleasure of being able to watch them create art. My brother's work is very abstract and like graffiti street art style, and then my sister is very painterly, portrait work, loose strokes. Like she does really amazing realism. So I kind of had the best of both worlds in that essence. I got to get like the abstract wild style from my brother, and then the more reformed portrait realism work for my sister.
I would say, like, for me, my siblings are biggest inspiration. Like when you were younger and as we got older, was our eldest brother Ernie. He kind of started the fire in us to want to create art. Unfortunately, he was incarcerated for most of my life, but we were blessed with little drawings that he would send home, some ballpoint pen work, and it was just nice to see how beautifully he would shade and what he can just accomplish with his pen. So that definitely ignited the spark in us to want to create. And then, when we were younger, we would always be at my grandma's house, who, to the day she passed, never had a TV in her living room, but also had a beautiful collection of just trinkets. There was little figurines and statues and just things in her little china cabinets that were placed everywhere, that me and my brother would sit and just sketch these little figurines. And
so when I first started painting, I was painting with acrylic for the most part. And then my husband actually bought me my first set of oil paints. And so I started dabbling in the oil paints. My sister works with oil paints, so I was able to learn a lot from her on that matter.
And then my husband took me to my first car show, and that's where I was like completely blown away on both the craftsmanship in these cars and how different they could all be, and the different details people include in them. But then also the energy of the show. Like, it's always such a good vibe. It's a good hang, great conversation. The first car I painted, I remember I was so blown away on how much I loved painting chrome. Like, to capture that look of like it actually looks like metal, or so, it just became like a niche of mine. Like, I liked painting cars. Like, it was just to create the body shape, the highlights, the shines, especially the portrait work. I just always been fascinated like on that capturing, and it's a certain emotion, or not expression in particular. Don't get me wrong, I love capturing a big smile sometimes too. It's beautiful, the energy that it gives is happy and everything. But I always like that more, I don't want to say stern, but that's that more contemplative look, where you're fixated. And I like when they're just staring at the camera and just kind of like, I think it makes you question more, like, what were they thinking? Or are they happy? Are they upset? Are they, I don't know. So that's where I started fixating on portraits, to try to capture a certain look, certain just facial expressions. And, the eyes say a lot.
When I want to create, I'll use anything. I have dabbled in a lot of different things. On canvas, I often use acrylic, metallic paint. I'll do oil paint. I've embroidered on some. I have a series I call Classic Beauties, where I sculpt roses onto the canvas. I do some resin work on it, like these wood cutouts. I'll probably be adding some dried flowers to it, and then the resin coating. So I like to use a lot of different materials in my work. I do not like to have idle hands. I like my hands constantly be busy doing something. So I recently got into embroidering onto the canvas just to add different texture to it. And, there's really cool threadings that you can get with like glitter and whatnot to just add just that extra to the piece. That kind of like ties back down to like my family. Growing up, my tia used to always sit there and do needlepoint, as she would say. And she would have me sit there and do it with her. And so I also work with polymer clay. I like to make some earrings every now and then. And on a few earrings, I also use the embroidery threading through the clay. So yeah, I use a lot of different materials. It's play. It's trial and error. It's experimentation, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. You just gotta cross your fingers and hope for the best. So. As a female artist, I think the main one that kind of, I don't want to say gets to me, but that I just experienced the most is the disbelief that I was capable of creating the piece on the wall. Like the repetition of, you did that? No, you didn't. Did you really? Like, it's like, yes, I did create that. Whereas I feel like a lot of male artists don't get that. They could just claim that's their piece and it's like, wow, that's so cool. But yeah, I mean, what I would say to like anyone who's trying to try something new is to just try it. You just have to be willing to play. You have to think of it as play. You can't take it so serious. Like, it's not going to come out perfect the first time. And if it does, that was an amazing phenomenon. But you just got to play with it.